Ese último McNugget me toca a mí porque soy la mayor.
¿Y eso qué tiene que ver?
Los mayores se respetan.
Eso no existe, ¿cierto, mamá?
Ya, quédense tranquilas. Aquí hay otra cajita de McNuggets.
Respeto, ¿viste?
No hay rivalidad cuando hay McNuggets deal. Hay un deal para cada salida familiar en McDonald's. Compra uno de tus favoritos, como unos McNuggets de 10 piezas, una Big Mac, una Quarter Pounder with Cheese o un Filet-O-Fish y te llevas otro por $1. Por tiempo limitado, precios y participación pueden variar. Válido para un producto de igual o menor valor.
Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing our discussion of the fantasy series An Ember in the Ashes. We are diving into Book 2, A Torch Against the Night. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this book discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. Talk about the series with us there, as well as other bookish topics. I hope to hear your thoughts on this book discussion. As always, you can find the three of us on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That would really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including this podcast after show. We get even more candid with what we have to say. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. Before we get started, I have to issue a spoiler warning. This is a roundtable book discussion, so nothing is off limits. You've been warned. Welcome back to another fantasy series read-along discussion, and today we are talking about the second book in our read-along series, A Torch Against the Night. Joining me are my read-along co-hosts, Casey and Nicola. Welcome back, ladies.
Hey. Hello.
Hey. So before we get started, as always, Nicola, would you please run down the book stats?
Yes. So Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. It comes in at 496 pages, pretty chunky for the paperback. The publisher is Razorbill, so that was not what I was expecting.
YA. It's the Penguin YA.
Oh, okay. That explains it. And it was published in August of 2017. On the audiobook side, the narrator, there's a couple narrators. We have Catherine Lee McEwen, Fiona Hardington, and Steve West. It comes in at 15 hours and 9 minutes. And that was released in August of 2016.
All right. Pro tip, listen at 1.5. Gotcha. Casey, can you give us the synopsis, please?
Yes, I can. Set in a rich, high fantasy world inspired by ancient Rome, Sabaa Tahir's An Ember in the Ashes story told the story of Lila, a slave fighting for her family, and Elias, a young soldier fighting for his freedom. Now, a torch against the night, Elias and Lila are running for their lives. After the events of the fourth trial, martial soldiers hunt the fugitives as they flee the city of Sarah and undertake a perilous journey through the heart of the empire. Lila is determined to break into Kauf, the empire's most secure and dangerous prison, to save her brother, who is the key to the scholar's survival. And Elias is determined to help Lila succeed, even if it means giving up his last chance at freedom. But dark forces, human and otherworldly, work against Lila and Elias. The pair must fight every step of their way to outsmart their enemies: the bloodthirsty Emperor Marcus, the merciless Commandment, the sadistic Warden of Kauf, and the most heartbreaking of all, Helene, Elias's former friend and the Empire's newest sheikh. Bound to Marcus's will, Helene faces a torturous mission of her own, one that might destroy her. Find the traitor Elias and the scholar slave who helped him escape, and kill them both.
One of the things that I think I liked most about this is that I was surprised about how things went a few times. And that rarely happens, in my mind. We talked last time about, we thought we knew what the hell was going to happen. we thought we knew. But she threw some things in there that were kind of like interesting.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things to me the whole time. Now, see, because I know there are 4 books, I knew Elias wasn't going to die. But the whole time I'm like, how's she going to work it out where he doesn't die? I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm like, he's going to be a different kind of person.
I thought that Helene was going to heal him.
You thought?
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think that. I was trying to come up with a zombie or vampire theory in my brain.
Well, you're closer.
Come back to life. But how?
Yeah, well, you were closer.
He is kind of a zombie, right? Kind of,
technically.
He was technically dead. So
he's kind of undead.
Alive. Yeah. So, yeah, I just didn't think it was going to be that.
Okay. Well, I love that. I love some of the other twists. I was impressed with the second book, to say the least. How about you guys overall?
Yeah, me too. I think the pacing was a lot better. Like I was plowing. I was really moving through the first half of it, unlike the first book. So I was really pleased with how interesting it was. It was a page turner. There was a good amount of tension, interesting things happening along the way. Overall, from that standpoint, I really liked it, and some surprises too. I agree with you, Tamara.
Oh yeah, I agree. The pacing was so fast, and it only got to be that way because book 1 set up the world so well. So we already knew about the tribes people. We knew, why they were going, what they were doing. But it did help that, they kept time jumping and be like, oh, a week has passed. Oh, 6 weeks has passed. Oh, it's been a month now.
I appreciate that because while we don't have to be with you every step of that way, it's important to know that of time passing, because when it doesn't happen, you're like, what? Did this happen in the day? I'm confused. How did they get there? What are they doing? So just mentioning that, in passing, real simply, 2 months later. There we go. It's great. I love it. So simple, but it does the job.
Yeah, I think you had a good sense of time passing and the journey and how long it was taking and how hard it was and how the weather kept changing and the climate was harsh. I thought that was well done without dragging it down.
As far as world building, I think the author did a good job still with continuing to reinforce what we learned in the first book, as far as, even though, for example, the trials are over, right? There are no more trials. We're not doing that anymore. But she still was able to reinforce the brutality of the world and how cruel people were and how things were without that trial setting, which was good. I think it was really well done.
The stakes definitely got higher in this book for everybody involved, I think. So that's not easy to do in a series. So we'll see if it's able to keep up with that arc.
Oh my gosh, right? I gotta say, I do feel bad for Laya. I feel bad for that girl so bad because I still stand by what I said last time. That was not a triangle, and it wasn't.
I thought it was for a minute.
It was a Z or an N or whatever we talked about last time.
It was a trickery. It was a trickery triangle-ish situation.
Faux triangle.
Did you guys see that coming at all from Keenan? At all? Did you see it?
Little bit, just because I didn't like him and I didn't trust him. And there were little things that just weren't adding up, but I didn't think he was that evil. I thought he was evil and working with the warden. I did not think he was a Nightbringer. So that was a complete surprise.
Or the original traitor that gave up Laya's parents.
Yeah, no, did not see that coming.
I did notice a change in him, though. And I noticed it. I said, well, after she sleeps with you, suddenly you're a little bit more rude to her. You're not, I'm like, why is he talking to her like that? Telling her, don't be stupid and da-da-da. I'm like, wait a minute.
He was that way a little bit before she gave it up, but after they had sex, he was a lot worse.
I think the one clue that stuck out to me was when she was practicing going invisible. right? And then she wonders what's holding her back. Like she knows there's something holding her back. To me, that was definitely either
when
it's
he's around, you can't do it.
either it's the armband or maybe it's Keenan.
Well, no, she had kept touching the armband and turning invisible. So I knew that was helping her, not hindering her. I didn't think he was stopping her. I thought it was the fear that she always felt around him because she talked about how she kept becoming...
Right, but it had something to do with him.
Yeah. No, the thing that stuck out to me the most was that they stopped being attacked by all supernatural creatures once he showed up.
True.
I was like, they kept getting attacked. They were attacked several times in the beginning of the book. And then he shows up and there's not a single instance anywhere, like maybe a little bit in the sand. But I was like, this is something fishy here.
Man, and all I know is Laia handled that a lot better than me. I would have been like vomiting. I would have been like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. I'm going to try to stab him in the face. I mean, I would have been like freaking out. And I feel like she didn't freak out like that. She was like much more mature. Like, yeah.
But she saw the thing that the author kept mentioning about that was that she saw the humanity even when he was the Nightbringer, right? Because in order for him to get her to give up the armband willingly, he had to actually care for her and had to actually make her care for him, which I thought was a little, I don't know if I totally bought into that, but by those rules, I think that's why. And I think that's like many of our paranormal heroines, that's one of her strengths, is that she kind of can see the good in everybody.
But she didn't know that immediately. I think it was some time before she knew how it worked, how she was able to give him the bracelet and how he was able to accept it. But that moment when he turns and he's something else, I'd have been like, what the actual right now? Okay. Like the whole time you weren't him, like you tricked me. I fucking slept with you, nasty. I would be like all kinds of upset. And maybe 2 months later when I'm sitting in my little shack and I'm figuring things out, maybe I might feel some, well, that's awful, but he's sorry.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I would have flipped the fuck out. I would have. And I'm like, well, she's better than me in that regard.
I will say I did stop and laugh and say, thank God she took plan B right after they had sex, because I don't want see like gin babies running around in the series.
Oh my gosh. And it was like, there was another part in the book where I think she said, well, I do care about him, don't I? She kind of said, don't I? And it's like, well, do you?
Yeah, there are a couple times where she's like, I really like him, but do I? Is this? Yeah. There are a few of those moments where I was like, what is going on here? Is there somebody in her brain? What is happening? I guess there wasn't, but
But there could have been, because the world building kind of implies that people can kind of do that, or like she's able to see inside people's heads, kind of, which is, I think, a world building bit that's yet to be developed. But there have been times when she's kind of seen into people's soul in a paranormal way, I guess, like not in a normal human way.
Kind of like a very paranormal psychic way, like, you touch him and tell me what. I will go in there and see. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, what they call that, parakinesis or something like that.
Yeah, it was very dramatic. I'm like, okay. So you can turn invisible and you can do this. So, okay. Yep.
So what did you guys think of my prediction about Cook?
Oh, she's absolutely Liz. I still think she's the sister. Not the mother, the sister.
Okay.
I still think she's
It's hard to tell how old she is.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to tell how old she is. I definitely don't think she's the mother. I still don't think she's the mother.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the sister part. I'm more likely to think sister than mother. because of the way she was looking out for Laya, but she wasn't like, it didn't feel maternal to me. It felt like something else. But I'm not ready to call it a sister either. I feel like there could be something else, you know.
Fairy godmother.
I mean, because we just found out, like, for example, this author is good at throwing stuff in there, because like at the end of this, we found out Elias has a half brother. Like, what? Who's their daddy? What? So it's like,
and apparently he's a good guy.
Kind of. So this is an enemy of my enemy. This is a common enemy thing.
Yeah. So that's freaky, and he has to figure all that out. So I'm like, that's why I'm not saying that that's going to be an easy answer for Cook. I feel like there could be something else that just hasn't been revealed. That's true. Yet.
That's very true.
So I posted this in the chat after our Facebook room for the first book, because I didn't think of it when I was reading it, but this is, I think this qualifies as a plot hole, Casey. You tell me.
Okay.
But what are the odds that a slave goes into the commandant's household with a silver armband on and gets to keep it?
Ooh.
Yeah, that is tricky.
That's never going to happen.
What slave owns anything? All your stuff is my stuff.
I think
they don't even get clean clothes. I mean, really, I think they would have taken it from her.
I think
probably.
So too.
Yeah.
Commandant, you think the commandant's going to let a slave walk around with a silver armband on?
Or even the guy who sold her. You should have taken that.
Right. Or the resistance before she went in, because
right,
they would have known that it would make her like stand out in a weird way.
Give us your valuables. But thinking back, now that we know who Kenan is, he wants her to keep that fucking bracelet. He did not want someone else to take it.
Well, I wasn't thinking of Kenan. I was thinking of Mason, who masterminded the whole get her into the Black Cliff place in the first place.
Yeah. But he was a part of that. He was embedded with them for a long time.
But if he had said, I mean, I don't remember exactly the rules, but if he had said to her, give it to me for safekeeping, you know, would that have qualified?
Nope. It has to be with trust and love.
Yeah.
With trust.
What they kept saying.
Yeah.
The love. They kept saying the love part.
Okay.
And we know she loves Elias. She loves him.
She loved Kenan for a minute, though. She wanted him to know that he was loved.
Yes.
That's what she said when she gave it to him.
Not in love. Either way, I doubt he's going to be coming back like in that. He might reappear to her in that form. But I don't think she'll think of him like, could I still love him? I don't think she'll do that after.
I think he's done. I think the Nightbringer is done with Kenan's body form.
For now. Yeah.
But I mean, so when the Nightbringer went to see the Commandant, he wasn't in Elias's body, right?
You mean Kenan's body?
Kenan body.
No,
yeah,
he was
himself.
himself.
No,
he was just himself.
Yeah,
he was just
so.
like
a human form, like tall, dark, kind of creepy.
So
how Helene explained him. Remember when she was listening to them? I can't remember exactly how she described him.
Yeah, and Laya saw him as well in the Commandant's office. Yeah, so I'm confused now about whether he was always in possessing Kenan or not.
Yes. So when she went back into his memories, Kenan, the real Kenan, died at 5 years old, and the Nightbringer transformed himself into the little 5-year-old, so he was caught up by her dad and then taken into the Resistance. And so because he has his magical powers where he can transform and shift and go to different places immediately, I don't know how fast he can travel, but he can travel really fast.
So what happens to the Kenan body when he's not in?
I think he's like a shapeshifter. I don't think anything happens to the body. I think he just transforms.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, definitely. Because and true, he does travel fast, because that scene when Helene came in trying to save the day, And they're
The
like,
commandant is already there because
Right.
he's there. Yeah.
yeah. Like, hold on, wait a minute. What the hell? Shut the door. What's happening right now? How did that happen?
Oh my God.
Helene.
That scene was brutal.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
fucking brutal.
I know.
Which one are we talking about now?
When
When her
Helene
family
burst
was-
in
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's trying to explain that there's going to be a coup,
A coup.
and her family is there. Oh my
And he
gosh,
just
that guy.
slaughters her mother, her sister, and her father.
Yeah.
And then marries
And then
her
he takes the
sister.
youngest sister. I'm like, ew, you creep. Marcus, you creep. I'm like, ugh. But
Yeah, he's
so gross.
he's interesting because I think, I mean, he's incredibly brutal, but we still think he's better than the commandant, right? So we don't want the commandant to win. So
We don't.
I think right now Marcus is pretty flat black, or I should say flat evil. But I do think that there's a little bit of a setup there to make him a little bit more dimensional, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he claimed to know about the coup, right?
Mhm.
And he, for some
Well-
reason, hasn't really messed with her sister like that. And he's talking to somebody or
Do
something.
you think it's his brother's ghost?
I don't know.
I didn't take that literally, but maybe there's a lot going on with the spirits and whatnot.
See, I would
Yeah.
say no. Okay, so it seemed like, based on what Elias was dealing with the other world or whatever, it seems like all the ghosts are in that forest. Like, I didn't get the vibe that ghosts were just floating around everywhere. Like, the in-between is like in that forest, period. So I don't feel like it's his brother. It's something else. But who knows?
It could be one of the
wrong.
What if
others.
it's the Nightbringer pretending to be the ghost of his brother?
Or it could be one of the augurs.
It could be.
That's true. Yeah.
It could be. Because even Cook had like this for a while until she revealed herself. She was like this voice that Helene was hearing, and she's like,
Yeah.
where's that coming from? Who is that? And then all of a sudden, it took her a minute before she revealed herself, but she was like kind of freaked out, like, this is whispering to me and all this stuff. So it could be another situation like that where it's not, cut and dry, or it is more cut and dry than it looks. Someone's playing with him or something. Who knows?
Speaking of Helene, what did you guys think about her being sort of the title character of this book?
I liked it.
I really liked it. I did.
Yeah. I liked her more after this book. She's a lot more complex and she has a lot more problems than we originally anticipated, right? So she has this, I want to protect my family, but I have to do this guy's bidding because, I don't want him to harm other people or my family, but I don't want to kill Elias. I don't want to kill him. I love him. I don't want to kill him. But she's not like this googly-eyed, like and she really turned her corner for me where she knew she had to make a choice. You can either go back and try to stop this thing, or you can try to rescue your boy. Make a choice. And she really
not really
grew
a
up
rescue
then.
either, right?
No, but she, she kind of knew that. She's like, he can take care of himself.
Yeah.
I got to go. That seemed like a very mature choice to me to do that.
I would agree. I guess I would say that there wasn't much about what happened with Helene that surprised me. I mean, the brutality, blah, blah, blah. Yes. But I mean, I think her situation just got more intense, right? I didn't see any curveballs. I did have a moment where she's out hunting down Elias and she's exhausted and her men are exhausted and spread too thin. And she runs into the commandant and the commandant is like mocking her and slaughtering scholars. And I'm like, why didn't she commandeer those troops? She outranks the commandant. Why that I don't know if that's
because
a
she
pothole or not.
still feels like a student to the commandant. You know, she's only just graduated. She's been under her thumb for 6 years now. Is that how long they've been? Or
It's
whatever?
longer than that, more like 10, I think. They
Yeah,
go in when they're
maybe
like
it's
6
10 or
years old.
12.
Yeah, they go in when they're like 6.
14 years then, because she's 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was more of the child facing the parent and not really consciously remembering that I'm outranking you, except for the fact that she was saying, you know, stop in that moment. But the commandant killed those people before she could finish that. And so that was kind of that reminder of, yes, you are, but I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do.
And also at that point,
that scene didn't sit right with me. But go ahead,
at that point,
Tamara.
though, she did not have confidence that the soldiers would take orders from her because they were very disrespectful toward her. They didn't show her the respect she was due in her station.
In that scene, though?
Well, I don't think that they had come around her way by then. If I'm remembering the order. Like, you know, at one point she did cross that line, you know, after she checks a couple people, threatens a few people and puts them in their place. I feel like that was after that, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That bothered me that she didn't, that seemed obvious that she should have done that. So I don't know.
Yeah, that whole strike thing, that was something for her to overcome because, I mean, she wasn't like, she didn't take that role willingly. And everyone knows that, you know, how do you start your job getting beat up? And, you know, I mean, you're in this basically a dark room and they're beating you for information. And then you're going to come out and be in charge. Like, man, that's a bad place to start.
Yeah.
You know.
How did you guys feel about, is his name Harper?
I think so.
Harper? Yeah.
Yeah.
How he went from torturer, like on page 1, basically, to friend and kind of confidant. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, it's Elias's half-brother plot twist.
Oh, he was a spy in between there. Don't forget spy.
Can't forget
torturer,
that.
Spy. Then
it's hard to be a spy when you're completely revealed as the spy, right?
So, I know it's like a pork spy, like, you know, but that was what his intent was originally.
Right. He was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that was the commandant's orders, right? But then he was feeding her disinformation,
which she didn't know at first until he told her.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if the commandant fell for all of it, or exactly, you know, like what if he's going to have to face the music for that bit of disobedience to the commandant, but obedience to her superior. So how does that actually shake out? You know,
he might
just stab
him in a dark alleyway. You know,
I guess the Nightbringer could beat him up.
He might skate by on it, maybe. I don't know.
No, she doesn't let people betray her like that.
Right. And she, like, does she actually need a spy? Because I thought she was able to, I mean, I thought she knew things she wasn't supposed to know. We still don't really know. Is that just the Nightbringer that's telling her stuff, or is there more to it?
I think it's like 90% Nightbringer, 10% spies.
So if the Nightbringer, what powers does he have? Does he have to be physically there to know what's going on? Don't know.
Well, somehow he was getting all that information from the warden, and the warden's like a 2-month trip away.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Travel instantly, or, you know.
I have questions is what I'm trying to say here. So I don't totally understand how the Nightbringer's powers work and how the commandant, you know, how much access she has to those powers. So.
Those are questions to be answered. Hopefully we get like some
2 more
satisfaction out of that. You know, but I don't know. And didn't he also say that he asked for that job and she let him have it, kind of like because of who their father is or something?
Yep.
So it was kind of like a favor, kind of, not like.
I was reading through that really fast, so I think I kind of know what you're talking about, but I didn't really absorb that.
Okay.
It was basically, he said, I wanted this job. I asked for this job because
I wanted to get to know Elias on the slide.
Yeah.
Basically, I wanted to try to get to know about him or something. But that also makes me think maybe the commandant didn't really take much weight in what he had to share with her anyway, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That's
like
possible. Yeah.
I mean, she did try to murder her son, so she's probably like, he's going to be dead anyway. You know,
Be interesting to see if Elias has any powers. Oh, do they have any power over the living? Like, what could he do to the commandant from where he's at now?
I don't
I
know.
don't think he can do anything.
Yeah, probably not.
No, not unless she's like
seen
close to death. He could probably pull her there like the other person pulled him.
The soul catcher.
Like, the soul catcher, yeah. Maybe he could do that if she somehow gets injured bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think she's going to be like this elusive, hard to kill character. She probably will stay upright all the way until the end.
Do you think she went? Do you think she deposes Marcus? Like, is she the final enemy, or is Marcus the final enemy? Or is the Nightbringer the final enemy?
I feel like Helene eventually is going to take Marcus out. Helene is going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to take him out, or her sister might take him out because yeah, because she seems like she seemed like she could be something to don't sleep next to her. She might take you out.
I thought that move she made about inviting the plebeian women to be part of her entourage was an indication that we're going to see some statecraft from her. Like maybe Marcus goes down and she becomes the empress.
Yeah.
That would be great for this country.
Yeah. Honestly, that would be the best twist ever. I mean, he's going to go out. He's going to go out. It's who's going to take him out and how, right?
Yeah. Well, we were right about them traveling with the tribes people because of the token. But it didn't quite go the way I expected. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I did not expect her to be so angry to do it, the favor.
Yeah.
And I know that he was asking a big 2-part favor. But, you know, she was like, hey, this favor was for the emperor. You're not the fucking emperor. Like, okay, dang. But you gave it to him. So you got to follow through. And she was very salty about it all the way up until the end.
Well, it did cost her a lot. So
it did.
But I will say, like, the initial plan, all right, we're going to go to this gathering and we're going to escape with the tribeswoman who gave me the token. That was like exactly what I expected. But then Helene outsmarting him and causing all this plan B stuff was cool. It was a good twist.
Yeah, it was. Okay, you know what? Actually, I think this is a good time to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and be sure to check out the merch store, you guys. It's always a sale going on over there. And when we come back, we'll finish out our conversation, and stay with us.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Today's episode is sponsored in part by audiobooks.com. Audiobooks.com now has 175,000 titles and 1.2 million podcasts. New customers get 3 free audiobooks comprised of 1 premium credit and 2 VIP titles. Use our promo code SHELFADDICTION, spelled as one word, when you sign up at audiobooks.com. Again, our promo code is SHELFADDICTION. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We have lots more to cover still. What were we talking about before we left off? I know I had a comment, and I was trying to hold it till after the break.
Yeah, the tribes.
The tribes. Oh, what was it? Oh, goodness gracious. It's gone. I should have written it down. It'll come back when we move on. And I'll be like, oh, wait. I know.
Well, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Which death shocked you the most in this book?
Probably Helene's family, because it was just so brutal.
That was brutal.
Are you thinking of Izzy?
I'm thinking of Izzy. I did not expect that to happen at all.
I didn't expect it, but it didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Same. I'm like,
one of those moments was like, oh, damn.
I mean, with all the fires, everyone wasn't going to make it out of that.
Mm-hmm. But still, I thought somebody else would make it, not Izzy dying. Like, that was just like kicking a puppy. But also, I understand why she had to die for the rest of the book to play out the way it did. But I just had to stop and sit there and be like, you just kicked a puppy. This is awful.
Yeah, I mean, I think
she picked that, though. She picked that route. Mm-hmm. And she said that when she was, in the forest.
I did like that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great. It was like, dude, live your life. You got how long you got left? Let's do, she was like even motivating him a little bit. And she's like, don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad. I'm like, girl, you go. You made your choice.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as she went, I was kind of like, okay, this is how we make the stakes higher, right? Mm-hmm. For Elias and Laia. So it kind of made I didn't see it coming, but in retrospect, it makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I don't remember, and not to say it didn't happen, I just don't remember it. Like toward the end, someone had said, and I don't remember who said it to Laia, but they said, well, Izzy said she didn't trust Keenan.
Yeah, that was.
I'm like, when did she say that?
I don't remember that.
That was, what's her name? The one who helped the tribeswoman.
Right, but when
Afia?
Did she say that on page?
Yes, she did say that, but not Izzy. Izzy didn't say that. I think Izzy said it to Afia, not to
Okay. So it wasn't on page. It was something we learned from Afia.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. When did she express that she did not trust him? Like I couldn't remember reading it.
It wasn't when we were seeing Keenan, because I would have caught on to that little tidbit because I was already like really suspicious of this guy. Mm-hmm. Also, he killed a dog at one point in this book. He killed a dog, and I was like, all right, I'm out. I don't trust you anymore.
I don't remember that either.
That was like,
that's right, when they were hunting. Yeah, when they were hunting.
He went to go steal a horse for them, and there was a dog barking, and the dog stopped barking, and Laia couldn't make herself ask about the dog, and I was like, I don't like this guy anymore. I can't even pretend to like him. You just killed the dog. I'm out. You
kill a domestic animal. Something wrong with you, man.
Yep.
That's not a good sign.
I'm going to go support the masks. I'll throw my support behind them.
But, when they were with the tribes people, I did think that was like so much shade. That was so shady for Elias to just leave like that. And I mean, he's going to sneak up in there and touch her face or, kind of look at her and then just sneak off in the night like a creep. Like, okay. That was so rude. Like, why did you have to do that? Like, come on, man. I get it.
The stupid boy.
I get it.
I totally get it, actually. Yeah. I mean, given what he knows about she would never have let him go. She would have thrown a fit.
But Laia, she goes, he leaves me 7 sentences? That's all I get? Like, damn. She was irate about those 7 sentences. Like,
with
really?
With good reason, yeah. But I still don't think it was the wrong thing for him to do.
No, I don't think it was wrong. I don't know, maybe there was a better way to do it, but yeah, she would have fought for him to stay, and he might have caved and just stayed.
Yeah.
Or she would have gone off with him, and it would have been
followed. She would have followed him, and that would have been a disaster.
I know, because like the whole point of them enlisting the tribes to help was to safely get them there. And he knew, even injured, that he could get there faster. Mm-hmm. He had the skill set, right? And she doesn't. So
and he doesn't have the time, right? When he found out how much time he had left, he was like, okay, this is not going to work.
Right.
Mhm.
I need to get there a lot faster because I'm about to die. So that was his, I think, number one motivation. But
Mhm.
two, if Laya did try to leave with him, she would slow him down. She
Mhm.
doesn't have the skill set that he does. So like he had to leave her. He had to.
Mhm.
And if she went, she'd have been trying to drag Keenan along. I mean, like, my God.
Well, she wouldn't try to. Keenan would obsessively follow her like a creep.
Right. So yeah, he made the right choice. He had to just leave. But I just kind of wish he would have left her 14 sentences instead of 7. Did you guys feel the sexual tension between them in this book, like the whole book?
There were so many of those near kisses, like right in the beginning of the book. I was like, oh yeah, when are we getting together? And then they separated and she slept with Keenan. I was like, all right, everybody's allowed to make their own choices, but you do you, boo.
I don't know if it was this book or the last book where I said, where I was like, yeah, there's a lot of almost kissing in this book.
I think it was this one because, yeah, no, they had like so many almost kisses and it's going to happen. And it doesn't happen.
And honestly, you guys, I felt like kind of deprived of a sex scene. Like I wanted something. I mean, I knew, we weren't going to get open door, obviously, but I wanted a little something leading in. It was like, oh, smooch, smooch, door slam, next scene. So it's like, and then I had to think, well, did they sleep together or not? And I'm like, I think they did. And then it kind of came, it was like cleared up that yes, they did. But I'm like, dang, can I get like a little something? You don't have to like give me the whole kit and caboodle, but a little something. But
maybe when she does it with Elias, we'll have more detail.
Save it for him.
Yeah.
Well, I think with Keenan, there was a real like an element of her seeking comfort and seeking safety as opposed to like this big passionate attraction.
Yeah. I still don't think we're going to get like anything too dramatic.
Oh no.
When that scene happens for them, for Elias and her. I just don't see it. Like, I mean, the kissing couldn't even be, the kissing could even be more hotter than it is.
It is very YA in that aspect. Yeah. I'm a little surprised because of all the blood and violence that it doesn't go the opposite direction, at least a little bit more. Like, I'm not asking for a whole, kink fest, but just
American morality. Bodies everywhere, but no boobies.
Censor the nipples. Censor the nipples.
Oh my God, right?
Dead bodies everywhere. Sex bodies having sex? No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Death and killing good, sex bad. So yeah, I was a little put out by that. I'm like, ugh. And I don't like that feeling where I have to question, well, did it happen or didn't it happen? But at least I got some clarity.
It.
So
I was pretty, it was clear to me what was happening. So
not to me. And so
like when she said, they closed the chapter and he's like, do you want me to go on or something like that? And he said, should I stop? And she said, no, don't stop. So
God.
And then end the chapter, right? So
door literally slamming shut.
In your face. Next. But it's fine. It's fine. Let's see what else was going on. I mean, there was so much going on in this book, and it wasn't too much. I feel like even though all these different stories were happening at once, more than in the last book with Helene being thrown in there as a narrator, it worked. It all worked. It made sense. Even like the scenes at the prison. Oh God. Oh my God. Like this dude, the warden is nuts, dude. Let's talk about him for a minute. This guy.
Creepy.
He is like abusing people, testing on people, like he is the worst.com. He deserved to die. I was so happy when that little kid killed him. I was
happy that all the children killed him.
Yes.
They all jumped on him and it was like
that was an amazing
tearing and scratching and stabbing. Like, oh my God, that was the best.
Like, just kill him just tore him apart. I don't know if I want to say it was my favorite scene, but that was a definitely a feel good murder.
Yeah. He deserved it. He tortured
murder.
those kids. He tortured Elias. I mean, he tortured the painter, which is, Elias' brother. That guy is the worst. And it was feel good. Even later when the little kid felt a little bad, he was like, hey, you did a solid. Thank you. You're a hero.
You did a good thing.
Yeah, you did
This is the right thing to do.
Don't feel bad about it. But yeah,
Okay,
were those torture scenes too much for you, Nicola? Or is it too much?
Well, I mean, it wasn't super graphic. It was, they didn't go in there and say, exactly what was happening. They just said it was so bad, people were screaming all the time, So I don't care for. I mean, that's not my favorite thing. I was more put out, I think, by the murders at court, the shoving the people off the cliff and the cutting.
Marcus.
Yeah, so Marcus basically. But there's such a showman element to those that was that was disturbing to me. The thing that's disturbing about the warden is the whole pseudo experimental thing, like medical gross torture stuff is one of my I won't say trigger because I'm not traumatized, but it's one of the things that I really, really don't like.
It's just gross.
It gets in my head in a way that other kinds of horror in books doesn't. So so I really don't like that, but they didn't go into a lot of detail about what he was doing. The kid was walking with a limp. Okay. I appreciated that it was a little bit fuzzy on that aspect. I mean, it
could have got bad.
Yeah, it was very clear that he was very horrible, and that was as much detail as I wanted. So, or more even. But yeah, I mean, there's no shortage of awful people in this empire, right? So that's being made clear.
Yeah. And I'm glad a lot of them were taken out, although there are a lot more left, a lot more to go. And of course, because he was, the warden was a major villain in this book as well. So I'm sure in the next book, there's probably going to be one more villain, like another one doing gross or nasty or, things on the side along with Marcus and along,
or maybe we see more of the Nightbringers, badness.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Here's a thought. So I'm looking at the titles of the 4 books, right? So the Ember in the Ashes is what they called Laia, right? And A Torch Against the Night was specifically Helene. The augur told her that. He used that phrase. So book 3 is titled A Reaper at the Gates.
Oh, that's Elias.
That's got to be Elias. And book 4 is A Sky Beyond the Storm. So what do we think about that?
Well, you know what? If I had to guess, honestly, and I hate to do it, but it's just looking at that cover art, we're back to 2 narrators in the last book. Helene looks like she's gone. She's not on that cover. So if that's any indication, maybe Helene bites the dust in book 3. I don't know. I mean, because, she is clearly missing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I don't know. That's just guess because, she's on this cover. She's on this cover. And she's on book 3 cover. Yeah. So that means book 3, she's going to also have her own narrative as well. But she's gone in book 4.
Oh, definitely.
On the cover.
Well, she wasn't on the cover for book 1, so maybe she's alive, but in the background. Because
that was something to kind of slide back out, though, to be in be a main cast member in 2 books and then go back to the background.
Well, maybe book 3, they save the empire and her sister becomes the empress and she's just like her sister's knife. And so they're doing their own thing while everybody else is to go fight the Nightbringer in book 4.
Maybe. I hope you're right. I don't know, because I kind of like her character now, but that was just something that was blaringly stood out to me. Like, oh wait, she's gone. The covers.
So I mean, I guess I'm thinking that all the first 3 titles are, the embodiment of a person. So I'm wondering who the person would be in the sky, a sky beyond the storm. Is it going to be Elias is not going to be able to have a baby when he's dead. So it's not.
I hope not. Well, he's not technically dead.
He's not dead. She said she would restore his body to how he was before he died.
So maybe
there's no poison.
Maybe there's a Elia. How would you do a merge of those names? There's too much sounds. Elias.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Please no babies. Please
no. Don't end it with a baby. I mean, I hate that. Like, we've talked about this baby thing. Like, do we really need that? No, we don't.
I don't think we do, especially in a YA. So
in a YA where they won't even show anything at all. Like, do they even know how to get pregnant? I'm just saying.
She took Plan B or their equivalent.
She knows how to not get pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back and just put it out there that it might be Livy. She might be the Empress. I would like that ending.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I would like that ending.
I agree.
We'll see, though. I'm not good at this love, like predicting a book out, maybe 3 books out. I don't know if I got that kind of mojo.
Yeah, I won't go that far, but I do feel strongly that I'm right about Helene, though. That's the one thing about reading books that are or series that are all the way finished. You get spoilers without even getting spoilers. Like if you pay attention.
I just read the summary of the 4th book, and now I know something about the 3rd
book.
I know.
I didn't read the summary. I just looked at the cover because I knew if I read the summaries, I was going to get something was going to give me something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
Don't read them.
Oops.
Oh, no. I mean, well, the cover art did give away something to me, but we'll see. I could be wrong.
Yeah. What do you think about Elias's friends, both the ghosts and the ones still alive, who are having to grapple with the trials and what happened?
I kind of felt bad for that one friend, but I'm like, he sure is fucking whiny, though. Like, I mean, I understand, right? His girlfriend or his fiance was ripped, he just was ripped out of his world. And I think Elias, his apology really explained what his feelings were. He's like, all your choices were taken, and I'm sorry. And that was really clear. That's what that guy's problem was. Which I liked how that came to, fruition at the end there. But other than that, I'm like, did you not know what school you were living in? Did you not know? I mean, it's not like he stabbed you in the back. You knew what was going on. Like, I don't understand. And especially when the lady that does, she was there. What was her name again? The woman?
The soul catcher?
The soul catcher. She said, hey, all the other people, they went over easily. They were all good. I mean, no one had anything. They weren't trying to be vengeful towards you. I don't know.
Well, the one, and I forget his name, but the one soul that was kind of stuck there, he seemed like one of the happiest masks, right? He had the fiance, and he was one of the most
humane masks.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't know if he was less cruel than the others, but he had more to live for, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the only one who had a fiance. He's the only one who had those emotional ties still to the living.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because the other people were kind of jealous of him, I guess, for having.
And at first, he was mad at his fiance because he saw her. She laughed at something, right?
Oh, she ate. She ate
eating.
Too.
Yes.
And he's like, do you want her to die of starvation? What do you want her to do? She's still alive. Like, dude. That's why I'm like, you're such a baby. Like, I understand.
Yeah.
Bitter.
But yeah, he's very bitter.
Very bitter.
Ugh. I don't know. I feel like that was something extra that kind of didn't need to be there.
I
But,
thought
you know.
it needed to be there to show the soul catcher that Elias was a candidate for her job. Like,
Well, that too, but also for Elias' character growth. Like, he needed to come to terms with it because everything that Lizzie said to him, he was feeling guilty for everybody. He was holding on to all of that pain for so long, and he needed to let it go. And he needed to say, I'm sorry. All your choices were taken away from you. I didn't want to kill you. I'm very sad that you're dead, but please move on and be happy again.
Mm-hmm.
So he needed that apology just as much as the ghosts needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I like that take.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad his other friends didn't get to hear that. The ones still alive and still working with Helene and Marcus.
They're definitely conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like the friends that are working with Helene, I don't think they harbor anything negative towards Elias. Like, they don't.
Not towards Elias, but was it Dex who threw a fit during one meal? And she's like, don't do this in front of the spy. And he's like, I don't fucking care about the spy anymore. Our friends are dead. Let's talk about the trial. I think that was Dex.
Okay.
That was just really emotional. And I wish they got to see that, apology and acceptance too.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to say there.
Dex and Ferris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get it. Unless they die. Then maybe they can.
I don't see. I'm not saying they're red shirts, but I'm not saying they're not red shirts.
Okay.
I mean, if Lizzie can die, anybody can die in this series.
And I'm kind of okay with that too. It's like Game of Thrones. Anybody can die.
Yes.
And that makes it exciting.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. No one's safe. And I like that. It raises the stakes, I think, a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And makes some of the more dangerous scenes more believable. Because if everyone always survives, it's like, what's the point of this? Like, that gets lame. Everyone lives. So is anything really dangerous? You know what I mean?
Nope. And it's not just the red shirts dying. It's the people you love and care about dying too.
Right.
And it's random children on the side of the dirt road getting decapitated. Just violently.
Yes, because the Commandant is a bad, bad person.
Oh, she's dreadful. I can't wait till they take her out. I want to see how they take her out, man. It better be painful and long, and it better be one of these things where, like, she really feels like betrayed or somebody. I want her death I want her to feel it before she dies. And I'll be happy with that kind of death for her. No less than she deserves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think that it's interesting because, with the Nightbringer as her ally, and I'm just thinking of this now, right? If the Nightbringer is her ally, I think that Elias taking the Soul Catcher job is a way of kind of evening that playing field a little bit. I think that he's going to get some powers that will be useful. And then there's that whole thing that Laia has these powers that she doesn't understand. And it also seems like whenever those Efrits touch a human, they get some kind of power. So maybe that will happen with some of their allies. Maybe they learn how to work with them.
In Chapter 1, Chapter 2, when that Efrit touched her and said, "What are you?"
Right.
Is she? Like, is she not human? Is there something else? Maybe Cook is a fairy godmother who's her actual mother because she's some magical being.
I don't know.
Or maybe her parents really had some sort of magic.
Well, even Elias kind of said, well, maybe when it touched her, it brought something to life. Not that it gave her something, but it awoken something.
Right.
So maybe all of them have like something and they just don't know it, or they don't have access to it, or maybe it's going to be something in the lore, the lore of it or whatever.
Right, the jinns that were imprisoned.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of that.
Cook is doing. How is she climbing the walls and
She's got some kind of ability too.
Yeah.
She's got to. Mm-hmm. Because Helene was like, wait, I'm looking and I don't see how she did that.
Yeah.
And I'm trained. I don't know how she did it. She's got to tell me that, how she did that.
Sisters, there's some kind of magical something for both of them.
Yeah.
She survived.
She could be mother too, but sisters is what I'm going with.
Well, she survived some things that maybe she shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Oh, maybe she's this guy. No, she's gonna die.
No.
I mean, probably gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna die. One of the big battles. She's gonna sacrifice herself so they can get to the commandant.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or maybe she gets to kill the commandant. That would be a beautiful retribution moment.
It would.
If it is Liz who watched her parents get slaughtered and then got captured and had to work for her for however many years, like that would be beautiful justice. The way the children killing the warden was beautiful.
I don't know.
justice.
I kind of think the son killing the mother would be beautiful justice because you tried to kill me. You tried to kill me.
It's definitely something kind of creepy about matricide, though. So I could kind of see.
Well, isn't killing your child creepy? I mean, you try to murder your child.
I'm just saying.
Well, how far can he go? He can't leave the forest, can he?
I don't know.
He
Maybe
can't go really far.
Maybe the battle will come to the forest.
But maybe the same rules don't apply to him in the same way. Because if you remember, she told this story that she was being punished. He's not being punished. Maybe there's a loophole. Maybe because he was able to go to the prison. It was calling him back, but he was able to go. So maybe the same rules don't apply in the same way to him that they did to her.
Let's hope. Because I don't want him trapped in that little cabin for the rest of his life, although he might be happy.
And he's not a djinn. He's human. He was human. He wasn't a djinn or anything.
He's definitely playing a role in the next two books. So he has to be able to maneuver somehow, either on a different plane or they come to him or he's able to leave.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
I would love to see more of the Ifrit magic. So like what they've all been portrayed as kind of horrible little awful beings, but maybe there's some that are not horrible, that have nice gifts. Usually there's a balance in these kind of things.
Kind of like Fae. Some are nice, some are awful.
Well, and they've used the word Fae too, so not exactly the way we think of it in sort of Eurocentric fairy tales, but
what do you guys think? Do you think we have some more to cover, or are you ready to jump in and rate the book?
I think we've covered most of it. Like there's so much more to this book that we could dive into. But I think we've covered it.
Yeah, because I finished the book this morning. I really paced myself so that I could finish really close to when we were going to talk about it. So I didn't even have to make a laundry list of notes because it was fresh. So I think I'll try to do this again next time too. So it's like I'm right off of it and I'm still in my feelings about whatever. It doesn't have time to settle because I feel like I get the most out of it when I talk about it like immediately instead of sitting on it for a couple days.
It's just sometimes hard to judge, I suppose you could always save like the last 3 chapters for the morning, but I can't.
Well, I start a few days before and by hell or high water, it's getting done. So it's like, I know, and I always do it even for the thriller buddy reads. I know, okay, I'm starting 2 days worst case scenario, but 3 days best case scenario. And then I have some leeway in case something happens, but it's getting done because there's no
if you doing the audiobook, you kind of always know exactly how much time you need, right?
Yes, if I do the audiobook. And that's why it's like when you speed it up, I naturally listen at 1.5 now. It's almost impossible for me to go back to 1 unless the narrator has a natural fast cadence. And most of these in fantasy have a slower cadence. By whatever reason, I think fantasy readers just talk slower. So when I listen to 1.5, it sounds normal, and 1 sounds like this.
Slow. Trying to put you
said,
to
I'm like,
sleep.
oh my God. So, but it does lessen. So I think when I started, instead of 15 hours, I think it readjusted and showed me 10 hours when I started.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
about right.
Yeah.
1.5.
Which I love.
15 divided by 1.5. Yeah, that checks out.
So see, I can remember things, even though I might not be able to do math, but I'm an English girl, not a math girl. I'm like, where's the calculator? Where's the calculator?
I was on a call the other day for work, and somebody was asking me how much something was going to cost, and I was like, it's 300 times 16 times 32, but I'm not going to do math in my head, so whatever that is. and people laughed at me. They're like, you mean you don't know what that? I'm like, no. If you want to stop and wait for me to put it in the calculator, I will. But I'm not going to speak that number without using a calculator.
No, dude, I'm not a math genius.
I'm talking to a room full of engineers, so
yeah. Like, you do the math. You got the engineering degree. You do the math.
I can do the math, but I'm not gonna. I need to do the math. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. Let's rate the thing, y'all. Let's rate A Torch Against the Night. Who would like to go first?
Nicola. Did you have a big change of heart from book 1 to book 2?
Did I call book 1 a 3? I think I did.
I think so.
I think this is at least a 4. I really liked it. I don't know that I'd go as far as a 5, but I really liked this book, so I'll call it a 4.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the 5-star again. I rated book 1 5. I'll rate book 2 5. I'm really invested in this series. The pacing is on point. I love the world building. I love the plot twists. I love that she's killing characters, even if I'm really sad about it. I just love everything about this book.
Okay.
All the feels.
About the series. Yeah.
All the feels.
That's great. I'm going with a 4. So last book was a 4. This book was a 4. I felt that it was a good, solid installment. I liked it just as much as the first one, maybe a little bit more. But it was not 5 stars to me. It was not perfection, but it was close. It was good. I had no major complaints. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Yeah. When it's in the 4 category, it's still a recommended book. I don't really recommend things that are 3s. 3s, I don't recommend to people because it's kind of, it was fine.
Yeah.
But when it's a 4, it's still in my recommend group. So definitely.
Yeah, I tend to be kind of stingy with my 5s, to be honest. So
me too. It's like literally I can count on one hand. If it's a really, really great year, I can count on 2 hands how many 5s. But usually I can count on one hand how many 5s I give in a calendar the whole year. Because I'm stingy with the 5s. Stingy. You got to work for it. Work. And that's hard for a lot of authors to get a 5 out of me. So you get one, you can wear the golden crown or whatever. Whatever you want to get, the gold star, because it's hard.
Well, I mean, I think of it kind of like a grading curve, right? It's a bell curve. It's not a flat. So if you got 5 different ratings, I'm not grading 20% of them at 5 and 20% of them at 1, right? There's a lot of 3s and 4s because I don't finish the 1s and 2s. And I really try to make the 5s have to really impress me.
Yeah. But the cool thing with series though, I still, even though like, let's say if it's 4 books in a series and I don't love all 4 books, but I still think the series is well worth reading. I still rate, I think a series overall, if I had to rate a series, I think I give a little higher marks based on averages. If it was more good than bad, You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I was in for this, even though book 1 kind of sucked. Just get past book 1, or book 2 was like the worst, but the rest is good, So
Wow, that did not hold up with the others, right?
it did not. It did not.
So I think
just went straight.
I think that what you're saying is with the series, you give heavier weighting to the books at the end, right? So a series can start off a little bit weak or a little bit slow if it goes better, but if it starts going worse,
crash and burn.
No,
that's a no-go. Yikes. Okay, so I guess we're done for today, ladies. What do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Good pick, Casey. I like the series.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, I was crossing my fingers and my toes. I'm like, I hope Nicola likes this.
I hope I like this.
It was a great pick. So I'm excited. So next month, you guys come back next month. We'll be talking about A Reaper at the Gates. Of course, join us on Facebook, Shelf Addiction Official, if you want to get in there and talk with us live in a private video chat about these books. We do it every month. So if you're into these books, if you've already read them and you still want to talk about them, if you're still excited, join us over on Facebook. So that is it. And until next time, happy reading. Take care of yourselves.
Hey, everyone.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction Podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.
Spark innovation across your federal agency with IT hardware, software, and services from Connection Public Sector Solutions. Your technology procurement challenges will meet their match as Connection's dedicated account managers offer exceptional customer service, and our extensive list of supported federal contracts means you'll always get a price that works for your budget. Learn more about innovation for your agency with Connection Public Sector Solutions at connection.com/fedcontracts.
Ese último McNugget me toca a mí porque soy la mayor.
¿Y eso qué tiene que ver?
Los mayores se respetan.
Eso no existe, ¿cierto, mamá?
Ya, quédense tranquilas. Aquí hay otra cajita de McNuggets.
Respeto, ¿viste?
No hay rivalidad cuando hay McNuggets deal. Hay un deal para cada salida familiar en McDonald's. Compra uno de tus favoritos, como unos McNuggets de 10 piezas, una Big Mac, una Quarter Pounder with Cheese o un Filet-O-Fish y te llevas otro por $1. Por tiempo limitado, precios y participación pueden variar. Válido para un producto de igual o menor valor.